Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Yehuda. You can hear my accent, I'm British. I've been living here in Israel for the past 20 years. As you can probably see from my skin, more of an Arab color. My family came from Yemen 69 years ago to the state of Israel. We've been there for 2,300 years since Nebuchadnezzar decided to kick us out. And I was born and bred in England, in London. And actually, quite interestingly, I lived in a street called Queen Elizabeth's Walk. Queen Elizabeth I would walk down that street, and she would go and visit Sir Clissold. And he would live in this massive estate. Today, that estate is a park, Clissold Park. It's absolutely humongous. You know the place? Okay? And really. So that's where I lived. And I would travel 2 buses and 2 trains every day to go to a school from the age of 11. And I was one of the gifted ones, and school was easy, and I had a lot of spare time in my hands. So at the age of 14, I started a business. And that business grew because my father told me, do not go public. So, of course, I went public. And I took the back cover page of the magazines over there. I became one of the richest kids in school, and I was one of the founders of the school. Today, I'm a philanthropist, and I'm spending my time building an educational platform that we believe is going to revolutionize education in every country in the world that will eventually work with us. We've taken the state of Israel as a pilot, and that's where we're starting. You've heard a little bit about that before. And it's a step-by-step process. And I'm going to focus on 1 or 2 or 3 of the different elements over here and tell you a little bit about the story, our specific story, and we're going to try and apply some of the concepts and how they can impact education, 21st century education. I believe a lot of you know about the issues that our students are facing today, and we're going to delve into that. So first, a little bit about the background. So, as you may or may not know, compulsory education worldwide started about 100 years ago. By us, by the Jewish people, compulsory education started 3,300 years ago. Compulsory education. Now, back then, it was a personalized instruction approach. It was one-on-one. It was father to son. But 1,900 years ago, under Roman oppression, we just couldn't handle it. And so that's when we created the school system. If you look it up on Wikipedia, compulsory education, you'll see that there was Sparta, and there was compulsory education, but there was how to kill people. And there was Judea, right? Israel, where it was compulsory education, and that is knowledge. It's all about knowledge. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about how it started, the system. So 3,300 years ago, you know the story. I think you've watched the movies, right? All the different age groups, from Prince of Egypt to the one from Charlton Heston, 10 Commandments, right? So whichever one it was, we came out of Egypt, and imagine now, if we're people of the book, we're people who are all about education. Everything is about education. So how do you suddenly have an educational system while we're still in a desert? How do you do that? So I just want to share with you something fascinating that many people don't know. And that is as follows. So you've heard of Moses. Moses in Hebrew, we call him Moshe. My family name is Moshe. My name is Yehuda, Moshe. Right? Judah, Moshe. And the reason of that, Judah is line of kings, and Moshe, line of education. My parents, okay, family, they wanted me to be in that space. And so Moses, it's not necessarily what they look like, this is illustrations. Moses is called Moshe Rabbeinu. Moses, our great. So, I grew up in England, we learned about Alexander the Great, etc. But, it was all about conquering the world. By us, the great, Moses, our great, means Moses, our teacher. Greatness by us is about education. Now, Estonia, you're not far from Finland, right? So I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have seen, like, a lot of the world looking at Finland and how they revolutionized the education system. A lot of the principles over there are things that we have been involved in for many years, and I find it fascinating how you, through research, you've discovered the secrets of education. And I hope Finland and Estonia are working together. You're in good terms, yeah? You're not like North Korea and South Korea, you're good.
Quite different, very different.
Okay, so now one of the things that they stress over there is there's tremendous respect for the teacher, right? Unfortunately, I mean, when I grew up in England, so I think you all had, wherever you grew up, I'm sure you had the different pranks of the teachers, you know, the cup of water on the door, he opens the door, it falls on his head, etc., etc. Hopefully you did not have that, right? Okay, but many, many school systems, you have that. There's no respect for the teacher. The number one thing by us is there is tremendous respect for the teacher. Moses, our great, Moshe Rabbeinu. That's the first thing. A teacher walks in, we stand up. We go visit them. We give them gifts. The teacher is who we respect. That's number one. Number two, something else really fascinating. For an entire year, the entire educational material, the entire educational system, every single day, for the entire day, this is the process. Moses would teach 4 times. He would teach Aaron, his brother. He would then teach Aaron's 2 sons a second time. He would then teach the 70 elders of the Supreme Court, let's call that, okay? The greatest sages. And then he would teach the masses. 4 times. But listen to this. Then Aaron would go and teach those who had only heard from Moses twice, 3 times. Right? Once, twice, or 3 times. He would then teach them. And then the 2 sons of Aaron. And then the elders. So we had a system where the instruction side was imparted 4 times. So every student heard it in 4 different styles. Now, I don't know what those styles were. There's a lot of research about that, a lot of texts to discuss that. But we do know that today people talk about people being one of 4 categories: visual, auditory, readers, and kinesthetic learners. Right? The code name is VARC. Whether those are the systems or not, whether they're other systems, it doesn't matter. The point is that people talk today about learning difficulties, but really if we analyze it, we should be looking at it as teaching difficulties. Is the teacher equipped with the ability to teach in different styles? And sometimes need to have a different teacher. So that is something very fascinating. Remember, we're coming out of Egypt, we were there slaves for hundreds of years, we were oppressed, and we right away, in the desert, we have an educational system which officially was meant to last for a year, but we messed up and we were there for 40 years. But we were very, very well educated. Now, that's the first step. But here's the next step. The next step is they would be educated, and for a few days they would go and they'd be learning together. They would be learning in pairs. In Hebrew, we call it chavrota. They'd be learning in pairs. Now, this is what the education system looks like. We learn in pairs. This is the way I grew up. 13 years, from the age of 18, 13 years. Younger than that, it was a different system. But learning in pairs. And it's like a puzzle. It's like we're trying to level up in a video game. We're trying to map out knowledge. And we're going from stage to stage to stage. And there's a lot of arguing. A lot. It's literally, we call it Milchamta Shel Torah. We call it the war of education. And that's what it's about. There is no such situation where I would be talking and then people over here wouldn't already be arguing 50 times. I wouldn't be this far. So number one, I want to encourage anybody over here. Anything I'm saying that you disagree with, anything you feel that I'm saying wrong, is misvalidated, you've got a question, you want to attack me, you want to give me some proof, that'll be nice. You can just shoot. You don't even need to raise your hand. You can just talk, okay? So I'd like to see a little bit of that, okay? Now that we go back and forth and we're arguing one-on-one, okay? And there are a lot of 21st century skills involved in this. We then have a lot of questions, okay? We don't end off with a question. We got a problem, we're gonna solve it. We do not believe in there is one problem that is unsolvable. You heard the previous presentation. Unbelievable. Just simply unbelievable. we did not believe that you can be left with a question and listen to this system, a fascinating system. So Moses set up for every single person in the wilderness, in the desert, they had one mentor, the ones, the upper echelons, the ones who were smarter and really understood better than the others. They would be able to go and approach him. So they had a problem, they didn't understand it, they would go and he would help them solve the problem. What happens if he didn't have the solution? So then there would be 1 to 50. 1 to 50. So let's say there are 2 people within those 10, they were learning together, they had an issue. They would go together with that mentor, because he didn't know the answer, to this mentor up there. So that's like the one who's a supervisor over 50. And then if he didn't know the solution, he, let's say, and these 2 people would then go to this person. And if he didn't know, they would go to that person. He would be responsible for 1,000 people. And then if he didn't know, they would go to Moses. So you had a 5-tiered system where stage 3, you had a problem, you're going to solve it. There is no such situation where you don't solve it. Once they'd finished that, we call it parasha, that topic, they would then move on to the next topic and we repeat the cycle. Okay? Moses teaching 4 times and then next, and then next. Now, during that period, we were in a lot of battles, right? We weren't being attacked, and we managed to pack in a lot of education that was written down in what's called the Torah, 5 books of Moses, and that's code. The whole thing is code. And then we received orally what's known as the Torah Sheba'al Peh, the oral law. Now, you're going to see something really fascinating further on in the presentation about how that comes back to us, because we have a very big problem today. So we have 3,300 years of education. 3,300 across all subjects. Very deep education. There is a reason why Startup Nation is able to innovate so much. Not only because we've been educated for so many years, not only because we have a certain way of thinking, but because we have a tremendous amount of knowledge across all disciplines. And we keep on learning. Now, I want to be able to bring that to the world. I want to be able to say, Estonia, I can help you. This is not about us. That's what we're here for. We're now back in Israel. We're here. Now we want to help the rest of the world. So, I want to show you how we're dealing with a specific problem that we have here in Israel. And that problem is that if we have thousands of years of heritage, well, we're dealing with the 21st century. Kids are on video games. There's entertainment. There's celebrities. They are bombarded with visual effects that the text or something verbal cannot compete with. How do you handle that? How on earth are we handling that in the UK, in Estonia, in other places? How on earth? So, what we like to do is we like to solve every problem. So, we analyzed this problem and we saw that this is a big problem. The only way to solve the problem is to become friends with the problem. Let's use the problem. Let's make the problem the solution. It's like martial arts, right? So, we decided, and this is one of our projects, to actually leverage the talent of Hollywood. All of those people who are part of the problem. All of the technology that's part of the problem. All of the entertainment that's part of the problem, and say, wait a minute, let's leverage that in education. And let's get the students involved to create the revolution. So I'm going to share you a specific project that we at Merkava, or Merkava, as my friends in England say, how we're dealing with this. So, first thing is, we created a project launchpad, and everything is digital. A project launchpad. So, what this means is that in schools, you could start initiating project-based learning where students say, listen, I need a book with a translation. I need something visual to understand it. I need some kind of chart. Whatever it is they need, right? 1,001 different needs. They say, these are our problems. So, these are our problems? Okay, can you communicate that? What does that mean, can you communicate? Have you heard of Kickstarter? So Kickstarter, what is that about? I have an idea, but I need help. I need financial help. Over here, that's not what's needed. I have a problem. First of all, communicate the problem. Everybody, what do we need to fix education? 1,001 ideas. Great. Articulate it. Do you know how to communicate that idea? Do you know how to evaluate what's needed? Okay, well, I need 3 different talents. Let me tell you a story of a girl called Aviva. This girl called Aviva, she lived in Cleveland, and then she too came to Israel about 10 years ago, and she was a 12-year-old girl who at the age of 8, they discovered she had lupus, and by the age of 12, she was already pretty much blind. Suddenly, darkness. She couldn't read books. What did she do? She said, okay, I want to create audiobooks. I'm going to solve my own problem. So, she created this page, and basically she reached out on the Merkava platform to hundreds of people. And she defined, this is what I need. I need voice actors, I need a sound engineer, and I need script writers. That's what I need. Who wants to help? Not I'm looking for money and crowdfunding. I'm looking for talent, crowdsourcing, but targeted. It's a specific project. And people from all over said, I'm in, I'm going to help. Great. She ended up as follows, having 17,000 students listening to her audio productions on a daily basis, weekly basis, and this would be her life cycle. She would go from school to the studio to hospital, pretty much on an almost daily basis, pretty much almost every day. It'd be school, the studio, hospital. But that gave her a project that made her an entrepreneur. She was in the papers. This is a story of one girl and then many, many other stories. I want to move on and analyze how we're applying media to solve the problem that we discussed before, something we're working on right now. So, once students define the project, what is it that they need? Teachers as well. This is what I need. Help me. Okay. The next thing you need is talent. Why do you need talent? Well, in real estate, it's all about 3 things. Location, location, location. But in business, or anything that you want to get done, it's all about 3 things. Talent, talent, talent. That's what it's about. Now imagine if we could create an assembly line of talent, where if you needed a project done, where there are people saying, you want video production? Hey, that's me. You want post-production? Hey, that's me. Script writing? That's me. You want help with language? That's me, etc., etc. Imagine if we had that, every person as profile, and then when I needed to kickstart a project, I could then connect the two, and people want to be able to help. I now have created an ecosystem where I've got supply and demand meeting. Pro bono, because everybody wants to be able to do something big. Some people in their businesses are doing something big, but most people aren't, and they're capable of changing the world. So what we say is, talent, who wants to join, and do you want to be a part of this? Let me give you examples of some of these talents who have joined our network. So, for example, there is this individual. This person happens to live in Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem. His name is Yariv Newman. And this person is behind. He's the concept artist who sits down with James Cameron on Star Trek, on Sin City, on Lord of the Rings. Does anyone recognize what this is from? I don't even know what this is from. I don't know what this is from. Okay, I don't know all the movies. This, I believe, is Star Wars. These are the people who are the concept artists. This is an individual. He's originally Greek, and he's involved in video games. The beautiful, majestic concept art to all of this. And we shared with them, listen, we are taking everything that you're doing, everything you've done for video games, everything you've done for Hollywood, everything you do with Steven Spielberg, J.J. Abrams, James Cameron. Do you want to do something for your children? Do you want to do something for education? We're starting in Israel, but it's going to come to a screen near you in Los Angeles. It's going to come to a school near you in Estonia. It's going to come to whichever other governments we work with. Sure, I want to be a part of this. Here is what we need. We need a bank of hours, a small amount of bank of hours. That's all. A small amount of bank of hours. These people have already invested thousands of hours of their time in preparing for this particular project. Now, just to give you an idea of the quality of these people and the names, I mean, these people are involved in Marvel. These people are involved in. Do you play video games? No video gamers over here? None? Okay, neither am I, so I don't know what it is. Usually in my presentation they say, I know this game, I know this one, I know this one. So they usually help me out over here. And this is the mastermind behind Avatar. The mastermind. It was a 15-year project. And now they're applying that talent to education. Why? You're going to see in a moment why. Why do we need visuals in education? I think you can already start to guess, but you're going to see specifically different things we're doing. So, talent. We're creating this talent network of people from all around the world, scriptwriters of Shrek, scriptwriters of The Simpsons, etc. So far what we've said is, we need to be able to enable people to demand, this is what I need this project done. I need a visual pipeline for everything education, physics, chemistry, biology, history, in our case, the Talmud, right, our heritage for thousands of years. I need to visualize everything. What are we going to do with that? We're going to see in a moment, but we can understand we need a visual dimension. So we have the talent. The next, we need to build tools. So we're building on top of very sophisticated tools, game engine tools. We build our own IP, our own technology that can enable students to start building magical things. Magical things, by that I mean educational media. Media that, remember how we started with the problem? The problem was students are disengaged, they're not focused, they are so used to be bombarded by visual sensory. Just that problem is a big problem. How do we deal with that? They've got to create educational media. So, this is what these masterminds are beginning to create. Students are beginning to create these worlds which they're going to be able to move in and create virtual universal studios of all their subject matter, whether it's history, or whether it's legal, or whether it's ethics. By us, it's a very big thing, legal and ethics. Whether it's physics, chemistry, biology. They're creating these worlds, and they're building these characters, and they're able to move into these worlds. Now, beyond that, what they're able to do is they're able to actually build the atmosphere over there. Full customization, what would otherwise cost billions of dollars to create something very visual, billions of dollars, we're now able to create with tens of millions of dollars. It's something within our reach. It's within reach of governments. We could do that. Now, of course, they can start dealing with characters and with props. And remember, this is an education experience for the students. The students are doing this as part of their projects. So they're involved in the subject matter, they're now interested, and they're learning and they're succeeding. Those kids who were the right brain kids, those kids who weren't succeeding because they just couldn't connect to the left brain mathematics and physics, etc., the STEM, which is so critically important, these kids now are hooked into the subject matter, and now they're succeeding in the other subject matter. That's the secret over here. We don't believe that there's a child who cannot handle different disciplines. We believe that you've got to tap into the passion. Once he's got passionate about something, he feels he's connected, he can then handle the mathematics. So now, the next thing is, what kind of deliverables are these projects creating? So number one, the world isn't yet ready with VR, AR, MR. It's not there yet. It's going to be there big time. But it's not there yet. However, when they go into these worlds, they come and they have these hackathons, more like designathons, and then they take shots of the different Universal Studio sets that they have, and they create a 2D still. Hundreds of thousands of 2D stills. Remember, we have the talent pipeline? They can be painted over in 20 minutes. And you have this. You'd say, how long did it take to create this? Tens of hours, usually people say. 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Now, this is a quick still of something that has to do with an educational piece of material that's studied in Jewish schools around the world. It can be applied to absolutely anything. The kids, while doing this, they are learning how to collaborate with each other. I'm sure you've all heard about the issues that we're entering into 21st century with AI. You saw what AI is doing over here. You heard already, I don't need any data scientists. If I don't need a data scientist, trust me, I don't need a lot more than data scientists. What are we going to do? So people say, okay, well, first of all, we're going to need to introduce ethics to make sure that the AI machines don't take over the world, and we don't have a Matrix calamity or any other sci-fi movies that you haven't watched. And there are people, professors like Yuval Noah Harari, who speaks about that. We've got to introduce ethics. Okay, great. We've been there for thousands of years. We can help, but we've got to make sure that everybody, the computer engineers in Los Angeles, in the UK, in Estonia, have that mindset. You can't ignore that anymore because they're going to be building very dangerous machines. Now, collaboration is a very, very important skill. A very important skill. 21st century skills are going to require people to know how to work with each other. You don't teach that in schools. This is something that through this system, they're learning how to collaborate, how to communicate, how to articulate, how to set a goal and meet it, how to fail time and time and time again and yet get up. It's a big thing that unfortunately we the Jewish people have been used to. Thrown from one place to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and fail and fail and fail and fail, but get up, get up, get up. Keep going. The next generation, our children, our grandchildren are going to need this worldwide because having an economy run by AI, run by machines, and not needing a large percentage of the population, not needing them, literally, just not needing them, what are they going to do? With us, it's great. We're all about education. Don't need to work, we learn. I studied 13 years straight, right? Not a problem. Give me another 13 years. We learn. It's fantastic. Now, maybe if we could create an educational platform which can relate to everybody can be learning and increasing their knowledge and enjoying that, and having some other ulterior motive, okay, that would be great. But we need to at least try and encourage these people to innovate, to be able to be small startup nations, right? Each individual on their team to be able to handle that because we're entering into a whole new era. Collaboration is a very important, very, very important skill that this platform is enabling to be able to do. They create whatever products and they need to be able to market it. They're going to know how to do that. It's happening right now. And let me show you one of the innovations that is happening. So these kids are now creating these visuals. Well, what are they doing? They're still using textbooks. We have our books. Take a look over here. Like, we have a book called the Talmud. And that encapsulates these thousands of years of heritage. And this Talmud has no vowels, no punctuation. They can't even do two different scripts over here. They have to learn another script. Nobody knows who's against who. So for me, when I grew up in this at the age of 6, this is easy for me. But what do? How do you make this easier for the masses who don't grow up at the age of 6 with being very privileged? So what these children started doing, said, not a problem, we'll create translations. We're going to work on it together. We're going to create translations, part of the talent pipeline. But then the kid says, not good enough. We want a universal language. Or what's the universal language? Visuals. So they said, great. I can start having a visual translation as you're going phrase by phrase on every single book. Not a big deal to do once you've seen the pipeline that we created. And it's so much more engaging. Of course, gamification, the whole aspect of games, the whole aspect of building lessons. And to explain that to you, you get where this is headed. It's not just interactive books. It's not just gamification. It's not just lessons. It's the process, though, of how to get there. That's the real magic. Every single school will have their own network. Every school. Their own network. They have access to this. They can create projects. The kids are now involved in a new style of education. They can continue the traditional style of education, that's fine, but a part of the time, and as the world changes, slowly, this will evolve, they will evolve, and we eventually can arrive at the concept of like a Khan Academy on steroids. You've heard of Khan Academy? Basically an online school. There are many, many examples. That's one of the famous ones, where you could be learning whatever it is that you want to be able to learn. So what do? We had a problem. Our problem was we had 3,300 years of heritage. It didn't speak the language of the masses. We started out to solve that problem. We realized we're going to need billions of dollars. We don't have billions of dollars. I'm not that much of a philanthropist. And so what we did was we said, let's figure out every problem and solve every problem. And we created AI to do things. and we created this PBL, or this pipeline, project-based learning pipeline. We tapped into the talent that we needed to do, and we used our salesmanship to be able to convince people to come and join. And we engaged the teachers, engaged the students. Still, small pilot. We're now working with the Israeli government over the past few months. Chaim Shoshan sitting back over there. He's joined the Israeli team. It's time to build Israeli vision. The government of Israel now is kicking in. And Israel is going to be a pilot for this. And with that, we're going to be bringing this to the world. We're going to be choosing one country. If any specific country is interested, you're going to have my contact information over here. And I thank you so much for listening, but I'm going to circle back to, I wasn't attacked once, so go ahead, attack me, ask questions, engage, and thank you for listening.